when you were singing earlier, I was like, God knew not to make me a singer. I was singing The Greatest Love of All so hard in the car yesterday.
Wait, it took me like 0.2 seconds. I was like, what?
I
I believe. Yes.
But then I was like, maybe I can sing because Whitney's voice is like, because like it's not very
I was
rounded.
just having that conversation with somebody Saturday. I literally was, no, I'm not kidding. I was just having that conversation with somebody. I was like, let's be clear, she's the voice, she's all the things for sure. But I'm just saying, we were in the elevator and then we were just singing, what were we singing? I Have Nothing.
Mhm.
And we had made it through the whole song. Like, it was so fun. But anyway, and then I was like, it's so funny because I remember singing that all the time, like at talent shows and stuff. That Whitney was like always my go-to. And I would be like, oh gosh, as a little kid. But now that I'm grown, I'm like, I could sing that right now in this elevator. It wouldn't even be that high, like in full voice and not like a strain. Just, you could just sing it. And so I say that to say, I was like, it wasn't even that difficult. More than what it was just her tone and just her tone and like, I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, but anyway, the tone was just immaculate. But it wasn't even like super astronomically high. I guess that's what I'm saying. And when I was younger, I used to think that it was.
Yeah. I mean, so that's crazy because you like putting it in the conversation of younger, and you talked about like your voice getting deeper as you have children, and I'm just like, why are people out here thinking that they can your voice matures and it sounds more wholesome as you get older? Anyway, I was just like, the Lord knew not to make me a singer because
If you singing all the time, that's what everybody always say. It is truly what everybody always says.
I mean, I can't have all thing. It's not.
I can't. Gotta get one thing off. You just can't have them all. Can't have them all. No, seriously. What are you navigating, darling?
Oh my gosh. When is the last time we had a conversation? I guess it was right after Easter, maybe. Okay, because I did go to church on Easter, and I think I talked about that.
So fired. I did not. So horrible.
What? Maybe we did talk about it. Okay, yeah. I know I was gonna try to keep y'all updated. I ain't go like this week or nothing. It's a work in progress. Yo, because did I tell y'all? I don't know if I told y'all one of the church I found that was like a Black women's seminary church, right? Guess what time they start?
What time?
12:30.
Oh,
I said
that's too late.
Too late for me. Some things can't be. Listen, I understand we trying to stay relevant and we trying to win the people over for Christ. However, baby, some things can't change. I got to be done by certain. I can't be just starting at 12:30. That's about to be nap time. I got things to do.
Honey, the way I would mosey up in that church at 12:45, like, okay, praise and worship already going. Let's do this. I love a little midday song.
I can't do it.
I understand. I'm still a child though, so don't mind me.
Right, the child wakes up at 7:30, so then we just sitting here looking at each other because my ADHD brain is like, well, I can't start my day until we go to the first thing. So it's just like we just sitting here. I done wasted the entire day. No.
Not the day got to be in sequential order for it to work. No, you got a little brunch before, then you go to church.
What? And then you get the itis and you gotta go to sleep. Like, okay, that's not what I'm navigating. I have had a pretty random set of events that I've just been invited to speak at stuff or asking to be being part of speaking engagement since like middle of March, and like I've been volunteering to be a part of stuff and people have asked me to keynote on stuff, and I'm just like, this is crazy, but I've taken the opportunities. It has made my life very busy, but yeah, it's like, this is dope.
I love
so
it.
in tandem with that, and the conversation that we're having is it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and the keynotes that I have been delivering are on that. And while I'm just kind of in the, I wouldn't say sexual assault awareness is a celebratory month at all. It's more of a like, we honor, we give reverence, we share the stories and lives of people who have been harmed by sexual assault. Same with October and domestic violence. But I've been so focused on like, let's promote and do and show the goodness of like helping survivors and experiences of harm, etc. That with all the stuff happening around Black women being harmed and murdered by their partners, um, it's been a weird place to sit right now, professionally and personally. Of professionally being invited to continue to speak about the goodness of the work that sexual assault prevention is due, while also um sitting in the space of the work is still needed. So that's kind of getting.
No, and I guess so. Yeah, that is timely that it's happening all right now. Unfortunately, but yeah, timely. And but also shout out to you for getting impromptu speaking events and just, or maybe not so impromptu, whatever, but still for expanding your reach in that way. That's dope. We love progression, professional progression, and moving more toward your calling and purpose, and continuing to move into, not toward, because you're obviously doing more than enough. But yeah, just moving into it more. That's fire. Congratulations. Seriously.
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
2 keynotes in 1 month? This is
That's what
crazy.
I'm saying. Come through. Speaker, leader, teach us all the things. I love that for you. Seriously. We walking in the days. Ain't that crazy? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I'm
We're literally
old,
living out the days. Oh, but see, old comes with things though. That's the thing.
right?
Like,
The season?
like as much as I be feeling it, I mean, actually no, I've reconciled so much with age. Even when it's funny, my first book I talked about age and I was what, 27. But yeah, I've reconciled with it enough not to act like I'm immune, because some days I do be like, "Woo, woo," but I feel like you can teach yourself to think a certain way about a thing, and you can choose thoughts. And I truly have just chosen thoughts enough times around age. I mean, I'm 32, so child, maybe I don't want to speak too definitively because I'll be thinking like talking like I've lived 100 years already. But as of right now, I'm only choosing to think wonderfully and positively. And I tell people all the time, y'all know my magic age. I want to be 43. I just think something is going to come at 43 that is magical and self-assured and bomb and degreed and salaried and all the things that I just I want to be a part of. Yeah, I just choose to see it beautifully because quite literally it is like, yeah. And then the older you look, speaking, you also agent.
Right.
Can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Resume
love it.
getting longer.
Hmm.
Resume's getting longer, but at the same time, so
That
is your
part.
experience growing, and
That
you
part.
actually have recognized wisdom.
Yep. Yep. That part. That part. Absolutely. Um,
Well,
yeah. Actually, on that note, I'm going to use my navigating time to give to. I said in the pre-production that I wanted to say their names, and I actually do. I thought there was going to be too many, but I just googled it really quick because I just want to say the Black women's names because they deserve to be said. And I feel my eyes watering already, but it's okay, whatever, because they deserve to be said. And I am saying it with glee and joy, not because of what happened to them, but because they were humans and their lives have value. And I think when they're snatched away just so flippantly by people that's mad. Well, we're going to get into all of that. I ain't even going to, because this moment ain't about them. I just want their humanity to be felt and set for a second. So I'm going to use my little few seconds or minutes to just say their names and just think of joyful things and recognition of the beauty of who they were, because their humanity matters. My God, today. Anyway, Dr. Wanzer? Sis, what's your name, girl? How do I say that?
Mhm.
Dr. Serena Fairfax. And Google just had her middle name, so I wanted to offer it. But Dr. Serena Fairfax, Miss Dentist. She was 49. She was a baddie. Didn't know much about her, obviously. Period. Beautiful kids. Dr. Serena Fairfax. Pastor. Period. Come on, Pastor.
Or
Tammy. Pastor. Pastor Tammy McCullum. She was a minister. This was the woman who was unalived by her son,
mhm.
this month as well. So Pastor Tammy McCullum, um, Nancy Bowen, Miss Mayor, she was a mayor in Florida, vice mayor, excuse me. Yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about how they ran. Yeah, uh, Qualasia, They called her Sadidi. Qualasia Barnes. They said she was a rapper, a nursing student. Okay. Yeah, I think I saw that one actually. Yeah, this was April 8th. Yeah. Yeah, Qualasia, period sister. I wish I could hear you say your name. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it well, but you got this. You got this. You hear me. Um, Ashley Janae Robinson. Yeah, Ashley Janae. Beautiful, beautiful sister. Beautiful sister. Skin was on 10. Wonderful lady. Ashanti Allen. Yeah, Ashanti Allen. Can you sing like Ashanti girl? Devontae Curtis. Devontae Curtis. Yeah. And then the last one that I think was the ones that were more publicized is Barbara Deer, also in Chicago. I love y'all city, by the way, Miss Barbara.
Was
I
that
just
Devontae,
wanted
the trans woman?
the trans woman.
Did she have did she have a girl?
No, I thought that too, but no, it just. I mean, I can look because I don't. Yeah, maybe I don't want to, but it just Google just offered. Let me see, but it's also spelled kind of like traditionally different, so it might just be like it's not spelled how it's traditionally spelled when it's given to um boys. Let me see. Yeah, I think it's just Devontae. But yep. Yeah, because it's Davonta. Like I feel like that's a little different from how I've seen it traditionally. So if that is the wrong one, I'm so sorry. But I think that we might be. Yeah. Wait, let me make sure actually, because that makes me uncomfortable. We can edit. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Black trans woman.
Volume up, Jesus. What the heck?
Curtis, yeah.
I'm sleep. I don't want all these dang videos.
Had been killed by her new fiance, Joe McCann, who's currently.
It was actually 10. Like this video saying 10 women. I only saw 6 at one point.
Yeah, that's what I said. I just listed, I think I mean, how many y'all at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 here.
Or was that
Yeah.
influencer?
Oh, and then I think one just happened last night in Shreveport, or not last night, but maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. In Shreveport mass shooting.
What that was?
Huh?
Oh, there was I saw something about a mass
Yeah,
shooting.
he killed his wife's, ex-girlfriend's sister, her, or he shot them, but then he killed all the 8 kids. 7 of them were his own, and he critically injured 2 women. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave all this in because I want y'all to hear. We trying to make sure we.
Yeah.
Not misname people and actually name everybody.
Okay. No, I think, but honestly, on that, yeah, on Devontae,
Yeah.
I think I think that's the name. Yeah, I just looked at a few sources, and I think that's her name. Yeah. And then in terms, I was looking also for the kids' names for the kiddos that were, unalived. I guess that was last night or yesterday sometime over the weekend by a man as well, in Shreveport, Louisiana. So although I don't have their names and the women, so I just found out they are still alive, but the kids, yeah. So may God bless and keep and hold so tight those kids, in all of the heavenly places, wherever that exists. Yeah. So I wanted to do that, and that's what I'm navigating. They just deserve life, and they deserve life even after life, and acknowledgement. And I know, like, hell, if somebody alived me, I just would want to know that my life has meaning and value. And so that's what I've been navigating. Yeah. 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 That's it.
Here on the What's on the Agenda podcast, we give space for the nuance. We want to talk through social issues that impact Black women socially, politically, financially, and all the illies. So, what's in the agenda? I'm very frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very sad.
Yeah.
Keynote address I'm giving this week is I'm saying a poem that I wrote when I was like 21, and I'm going to talk about how the fact that like I didn't know much about I didn't know anything about sexual assault and domestic violence, but I knew Black women's stories, and I wrote that poem then, and I didn't realize until I got into this work how much that the poem that I'm gonna read is so riddled with abuse, and, like and I was like, "I just watched Black women live." Like, that's it. Like, I just heard stories. And how much of our lives are so, like, tainted and covered with abuse, but
Mm-hmm.
also thinking about, like, when you named half of those people, like, you can't I'm thinking about respectability politics, and you can't say they weren't perfect victims. They were respectable people. Like, um, and they still weren't able to escape the patriarchy and the harm that happens, that harm they couldn't escape violence, the quote unquote violence against women. They couldn't escape harm that's done by men. And these were respectable. These were like somebody was literally talking about this, the talented 10th. Like
Mm-hmm.
this man who was
Mm-hmm.
uh lieutenant governor. You're supposed to be um respectable, and also they didn't talk about it this way, but I'm thinking about it in the way of like supposed to be upstanding. And just how much like when people talk about rape culture and people don't talk about like people talk about standing up for their shoot, this ain't new. This ain't new. And like you standing up for your line brothers, your frat brothers, your friends. Well, he was good to me.
That is
Yeah.
what I've heard. Yeah, that is some of I've not heard that directly, but yeah, that is the essence of what I've been hearing around the Fairfax case, which is uh yeah, men's mental health and just having that sort of a close relationship with him. Yeah, that's what you're mentioning. Having that sort of a close relationship with him. And obviously a lot of people in politics would be closely this is a respectable Negro by every metric, right? In quotation marks, right? Or in quotations. And then even with her, right? She was a dentist. He was he an attorney? I don't know if he was an attorney or just a politician, but anyway, worked in the legal field, obviously. And then you have the mayor out in Florida, I believe it was. Uh, like, yeah, it was so many people who had done the right things and who have done the right things all their lives and checked all the boxes and by every metric, avoided the potholes, right, for the sake of progressing herself maybe out of negative, bad situations so that she could create the life for herself that she wanted and that she envisions. And then it's your son, because the one I think in Florida was her son, or Chicago, one of them. It's, again, so many. It's your husband. And then the one to speak to Shreveport last night, um, they had just taken their babies to church on Easter. Kids were well grown, pretty little babies, right? Um, like, and again, not that that matters at all. What I'm saying is they checked the boxes. And it just seems, like you said, I'm just kind of repeating, I'm just, processing through it. It just seems there is no freedom from it.
Yeah, and I think I bring it up because it's easy if the person or the people, the women were hood rat ghetto Black girls, it's
Mm-hmm.
easy to say it's because they were hood rat ghetto Black girls, but when they check all the boxes, we have to now ask what is the problem? And the problem is the patriarchy and the problem is men not knowing how to handle their emotions. It is a mental health problem. Yeah, and it's not bred because they were born into this mental health crisis. They were raised into a society that breeds men into not knowing how to deal with their emotions and not knowing how to process their emotions and not given space to be full humans. And that's why um I'm gonna constantly say that the patriarchy is also killing men. So yes, it is a mental health crisis, but not in the sense of like they couldn't help it. No, we can help it. We just have to do the work to comb through and untangle ourselves from the patriarchy so that men can also live full lives and not go around using their their hands and guns to solve their problems and fighting and all the things. So yeah, I bring it up because, um, when the person checks all the boxes, except for they weren't white women, they checked all the boxes of I did everything I was supposed to do. I picked the right person. I picked the respectable Negro as well. I was also respectable. There has to be another. There. It only points to one other thing, and now we have to talk about what is that thing.
That's such a beautiful intro to that. Yeah. What is that thing? What is that thing? That thing, as you just mentioned, is patriarchy, guys. And is it okay? Maybe we can just start it here then, like the internet conversation around it. Everybody wants, or I've been seeing the conversations. This is what some of what Morgan was just alluding to. We've been seeing the conversations around. They were sparked by Roland Martin and some, I guess, like you mentioned, his frat brothers and other people who want to prioritize men's mental health in this moment. And then a lot of the protest to that was like, well, this isn't the time to be prioritizing or discussing men's mental health because domestic violence isn't a men's mental health issue. And they weren't saying this directly, but this is kind of what it boiled down to. Domestic violence isn't a men's mental health issue. It's a power issue, and it's a men needing self-control issue, and it's an ego issue, and all of those things. And so the conversation kind of devolved into a either or sort of a thing rather than a both and conversation that I think it actually should be. But to your point, Morgan, we wouldn't, especially to this extent, this level of violence and assault that we've just perpetually seen throughout history ain't just because men are sad. And as a several years practicing therapist, I'm here to tell you, it ain't just because men are sad. And to the extent that men are sad, if we just handled that tangentially, again, that's solely correlated, not solely, but largely, oftentimes when you hear men talk about what their frustrations and causes of depression is, it's the weight of the responsibilities, the weight of the expectation that's placed onto them based solely on things like arbitrary things like their gender that they have, all rooted in patriarchy, because patriarchy said you need to be wealthy, you need to have all these things, you need to be completely isolated, you don't need to talk about your feelings, your wife don't need to be contributing in the house, you all money is all on you. Money and the responsibilities that it's supposed to go out and help with are all on you. Something born from patriarchy that women had nothing to do with. That's one. And then finally, but even if so bring that conversation back together. It is a men's mental health issue, and men's mental health issues are steeped in patriarchy and often largely caused by patriarchal structures and ideas that they feel like they have to adhere to. And then when they can't, because it's impossible, because patriarchy expects men to be supermen, then they crash and burn, and everybody else in their orbit just becomes collateral damage to their crashing and burning. Yes. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great place to start it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just also thinking about like the argument of like, well, not even the argument. Like we can recognize that racism has literally literally causes stress and sickness in our bodies, but we can't do the same for sexism. And the biggest the thing is that men have to all like the same reason white people don't want to recognize racism is the same reason black men, white men, whoever, don't want to recognize sexism, and it's because they have to give up privilege, and they don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we are born into a society that prioritizes power and going and getting and grinding, and every single thing that the liberal people and the people who don't shut up about nothing are constantly talking about is all this oppression is connected to the same hierarchy of trying to figure out who can get the most power, who can obtain the most power, and who can keep that power. And if we don't untangle ourselves from that on every front, because every single type of oppression is connected with each other, we're constantly going to kill ourselves and kill other people. So to automatically, I was saying all that to say, to automatically dismiss and go straight to domestic violence is a
men's mental health.
Yeah. And how did we get there is where this conversation is. And how did we get there? Because it's not I'm trying to it's not
like happen in a vacuum, isolated.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not I'm trying to think of something you actually are born with. Like it's not something you are just like you wake up, and I understand that
I
there
see what you mean.
are mental health issues that you are born with, but you don't waste this particular blame men's mental health on domestic violence without having a full critique of domestic violence because you don't understand domestic violence. And that's even an argument in, like, I believe in court cases of like men's mental health and their mental health. It's power. It's power. And if you don't understand how domestic violence work, you can easily get caught up in a case where it's just like, oh, okay, he was just having a bad day. It was just his mental health. He was depressed that day. No, that's not okay.
Yeah. No, I love that you're right. It's not like inherent. It's not this thing that you just wake up with and are like, I have a for the algorithm actually. I have a harm this person disorder. That's not how it works.
Right.
That's not how it works. And it's also always the person that's smaller than you or can't do much about it and can't like, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. I think that, I think that's the pin on that part of it. It's broader. And deeper. And if you want to, maybe in y'all circles, male and men circles, if you guys want to have that conversation with each other around, man, he was probably really sad. He was probably really depressed. And I've been feeling that too. And sometimes that makes me feel powerless. And so I have to evoke power in ways that are maybe harmful. Like maybe if that's a conversation y'all want to have with each other, cool. But like you still, all I'm going to say is like, you're still missing the critical point. And so I'm going to give it to you because I'm not a man and I would never try and speak for men in terms of what's necessary or appropriate to have when y'all are trying to address and root out issues within your own subgroup. But if I had to make a suggestion, you'll always end up hollow and empty and come up short if you don't have the full conversation that we're addressing right now, which is how do we start to dismantle this nonsense? Because you're harmed for it. Your life and your quality of health and quality of life is worse off for it. We're literally only bringing continual harm to the planet. Hey, WOTA fam. Thank you so much for listening to our pod each week.
As we're continuing to grow, we would love if you would give us a 5-star review on whatever platform you are listening to us on.
And make sure you're subscribed on all the platforms you listen to us on.
And comment on our page. We would love to shout you out.
Now, enjoy the rest of the pod.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about, like, one, I was laughing because I'm just like, a conversation with men that's amongst themselves without any accountability. Okay, whatever. Like, but like, I was just thinking about it as much as I feel like, oh, that conversation would go terribly. I also feel like there have been enough coaches have told little boys, go walk it off. There got to be like there's somebody who is smart enough as a man to have had these conversations that when you get angry enough with your wife, partner, or whoever, walk it off. Like, literally remove yourself from this, because to the extent that we do hold up patriarchy, we have the mentality that men are bigger and stronger and can do more harm to women. So to the point where we know this, there are men telling other men, go walk it off. And to just cop out and say it was a mental health issue is to disregard the fact that from a young age, as toxic as we talk about men's feelings and et cetera, like there are conversations happening amongst little boys I know that are saying, go walk it off when you feel like you about to put your hands on somebody. Because
Mhm.
you could end up
Mhm.
hurting somebody or you could
Mhm.
end up killed yourself.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that. Yeah. We don't gotta act like we're reinventing the wheel. There are mechanisms for this, right? And even and hear what we're not, or don't hear what we're not saying. It could very well, matter of fact, this sort of a combination of harm, right? Like, I don't want to say the words for the algorithm, but how he did himself and her, this sort of a combination absolutely does point to comorbidities, right? And like manic episodes, right? Like, I'm willing to go down that rabbit hole completely. It's not that one causes the other. Let's be very clear. I'm not saying that every person with a mental disorder, mental health disorder, will do that. That's not that. But what I'm saying is, with these sorts of behaviors and the nature of it, and like I said, the combination of actions that he took, I could point to several things that this could be mirrored to, or emanate from. Um, but so it's not to say that this mental health isn't an issue. It sounds like he hadn't been diagnosed with anything, but the lineup of all the things that he'd gone through, I could see how that would cause a mental health break for sure. But this is the part that y'all not gonna like. But I'm a licensed clinician, so I don't care. One, again, those mental health disorders don't cause this. Two, this sort of a tendency to go to that extreme, there's underlying things there already. That's not I'm sorry, you're just not going to get me to go all the way and say this is the cause, right? And yeah, I'm not going all the way and say the violent, subjugating, oppressive tendencies and ideas and tendencies. Let's be very clear, because it's the actions, but also actions are produced from ideas and thoughts, right? Violent thoughts, violent tendencies, violent ideas, subjugated, oppressive ideas about a woman and people who are lesser than you are the things that, especially because, and this is evidence of that too, or helpful evidence of it. She was leaving.
Mhm.
She was leaving.
Mhm.
It wasn't like this didn't just come out of nowhere. She was leaving.
Right.
And
But
mhm.
go ahead. Nope.
Well, last thing I'll say is the reports that I read, I don't know if this is accurate, and maybe I shouldn't have said it, but still, it's not that consequential. The reports that I had read is he was served the divorce papers earlier that morning. Like they had already been going through the divorce or whatever, but from what I heard, that it was like the final documentation or something in their divorce proceedings. Again, that was reports, but so it
Yeah.
wasn't just like, oh, just I'm just
Yeah. Yeah.
no, the power was almost
Gone.
gone.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
but go ahead.
oh, that's so sick. That if I
Mhm.
can't have you, nobody else can. And I'm not even
Mhm. That's exactly what that
close,
is.
but
Mhm.
but I can agree with you with this can lead to, you were saying that it doesn't cause it and it could a series of events could cause a mental health disorder, blah blah, to
Mhm.
some
Mhm.
extent, like
Mhm.
uh there are mental health disorders that could lead to something like this, but
Mhm.
a series of events that occurred up into this was, you have a tendency towards violence and already, like, this came because you were accused of sexually assaulting women. So, 2, and yeah, like, that was
Yeah.
also a part of this, like, if it was just, like, if it wa I was thinking about if this was like, lieutenant governor, killed himself and his wife, and literally there was nothing that happened before this, then we could have a conversation about mental health, and we could have a
Mhm.
conversation about how did we get here. But the 15 steps before that showed
Mhm.
that this was the cause of
Mhm.
this last
Mhm.
step, not
Mhm.
had a mental break.
Mhm. Mhm. No, I'm glad you said that, because that's what I was thinking too. I was like, if you didn't want these things to be validated and for people to believe them, what a horrible way to do that. What a horrible way to pursue that sort of a goal. That's the one thing. And then secondly, um, um, again, had he been found legally guilty of the sexual assault allegations that he was accused of? No, he wasn't found legally guilty. And you could make the case that the timing of the allegations coming out was convenient because, like, if I gave you all of that, I don't believe any of that. But if I gave you if I conceded all of the questionable things that I've been hearing a lot of men say, um, um, that still doesn't. Again, to do this level of crime to himself and to his wife points to something that's been ruminating, is what I'm trying to say. So it still doesn't negate the fact that this man has and had abusive tendencies, because to get to this level, you don't go from zero to a murderer. That's not how that works.
In a
That's not how
day.
that works in a day.
You know,
Particularly the day that she, with the divorce. Go ahead.
right. I didn't know that part. And I was about to say, did you know that he bought the gun years prior? Like after something else was like something else happened and he bought the
Mhm.
gun and that was the gun that was used to do that.
I didn't know that, actually. I did know
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah.
With
And
his
also,
with his child's horseback riding money.
well, well, that aside, I didn't know that at all. But also, one thing I will always trust is a woman who leaves, and let me tell you why. Because that whole women are inclined, like, God, I'm about to say stuff that's generalities from my lived experience. What I've always seen, I don't have no data on this. I want to always be clear. Now we just kikiing a little bit. We love sticking by our men in tragedy. Not because it's easy, not because we want that to happen, but because when we love a black man, when we love a man in general, but us particularly, when we love a black man, and because we know the history, and if she's a dentist, a black female dentist, she knows the history of her. She knows all the things. I'm going to give her all the benefit of the doubt that she, no matter what she did politically or whatever, she knows. She knows the weight of what it is to be married to a black man who was the first lieutenant governor the first in federal office at that level in that state. She knows. She knows. So for her to, after those allegations came out, because I think she was still around, but after those allegations came out, stick beside him and then eventually still choose to leave, 1%, 1,000 bajillion percent believe and trust in whatever her reasoning were for leaving. Another reason too is because she has children with this man, although they are older now, but they're still teenagers, right? Like, ain't nobody leaving, ain't no woman, especially a black woman married to a prominently successful black man, just leaving just cuz. That's not happening. That's never happening. That ain't gonna happen ever. I'm no stats. That's just lived experience. I'm a grown black woman who worked with couples all day long, who's seen women go through this over and over and over again. If she left, if she signed that paper with her baby still in the house, it was worth it. She had a reason. Ain't nobody blowing up their life for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like to add to that, like when you said that, I just kind of heard like she knows if she loved him just a little bit, like if she got a little 5%
Yeah.
left on her tank,
Yeah.
know what a divorce will do to the first black lieutenant government of Virginia.
Yes.
So I'm gonna stick around enough, but because she left, she knows her husband.
Mm-hmm.
She knows the power, she knows the capability of what he did, and the accusations are true.
Yes, we can't say that for the sake of the podcast. We can't say that. We don't know. Yeah, allegedly. But
Probably
I'm
true.
but I'm here with you, sister. But I'm here with you because that's the other thing. Whew, I'm up. That's the other thing. I know that feeling all too well when, like, you know your man. You know your man. You know your man. Girl, she knew her man. She heard that story. So this how I be going. This how I be going. Sisters, again, we not in data right now. We still in the kiki. Sisters, listen up. You know how you heard that allegation once? It don't even got to be that deep. Just, like he was on my line, blah, 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 blah. And like, just a hater. Don't know. She be hating. Still question it a little bit, but not because you don't believe it, but just because you don't want to believe it. So then you question, whatever. But when you 50 and you've been with him, you know what he sound like, smell like, do his tendencies, bad, good, or indifferent, but you love every ounce of his existence. That's when you just be like, you either push it and then it implodes, or you don't push it and you walk. because, but what's always been consistent in this, you know your man.
Yeah.
You know your man. She read them allegations. Y'all can say what y'all want. Oh, it's not proven. It's not proven. Blah, blah, blah. She knew her man.
I mean, let me make a list of things I need to say.
Go ahead. That's
Like,
it. That's all I.
if you don't know, it is hard to get a case to be won in sexual assault or domestic violence, period.
Come on,
Legally,
experts.
in the justice system, right? Okay. 2, as you were talking, as you get older as a woman and you start hearing the stories of your friends and you start hearing the stories of what they've been through and you start knowing some things that you've been through, you start being like, yeah, that nigga did it. Yeah, it's a little harder to be.
Carry the
Yeah,
3.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little harder to be a little naive. And like you said, she's an educated woman. She's an educated woman. Like
Yeah.
you sat.
She
sat on-
know. She know.
She know. And the reason why the average number of a woman leaving someone who has harmed them, been in a domestic violence relationship is 7 times the average. That it took the average. If y'all understand what average means, it doesn't mean it left on the first time. Somebody might have been able to leave on the first time. Somebody else might have been able to leave on the 18th time. When we add all the numbers up and we come up with an average, it takes a woman 7 times to be able to leave. And why is that? Because they typically are killed in the process of leaving.
Jesus.
And they know that. And they know that their lives are entangled with these people. He was the lieutenant governor of Connections. Do you know what kind of maneuvering you have to do when a regular man trying to get out of the house and you know that he is capable of harming you? And he's the lieutenant governor?
And he'd also been drinking. He'd been drinking, he'd been using alcohol, because even if that because this all happened in 2019, he was spiraling.
Yeah.
Again, because what's that again?
He was losing his power, losing his.
That's what I was about to go into.
Because the patriarchy was unfolding in front of him.
Wait. We can even take it. Yeah, the patriarchy was unfolding in front of him, but his unwillingness to relinquish the patriarchy in that whole process is what brought, because take his wife out, take his kids out, take lieutenant, take all of this out. If these allegations were true, right? Saying that for the algorithm, saying that for our podcast, because we are growing in Jesus' name, right? So we're going to protect ourselves. The patriarchy is what made you think that you can do something like that anyway, right? That's 1. 2, these violent tendencies, inclinations, whatever, tendencies, that's the word, that you have and had, these sadistic, distorted views around sex, maybe sexuality, maybe power, and all of the things. My good sir, my good brother, you didn't deal with your stuff. I'm always pulling a Monique. You didn't deal with your stuff. And guess why you didn't deal with your stuff? Because the patriarchy makes you believe, and this is what I talk about on TikTok a lot, that you can exist in duality, that you can both be secretly addicted to all manner of craziness and have abusive thoughts and maybe sexually deviant. You can just do all this stuff in the dark. And then, but got the beautiful light skin. And I put that in quotation because you got to do all the traditional bull crap that y'all indoctrinated into. I got the light skin, biracial girl with the beautiful kids, and I'm the leader, and I won. Except your closet that you dip back into every single night is nasty, dirty. The stuff, the poison is just seeping out. It's on the floor. It's coming. And so fast forward to today, to what your point was. You not mad that you didn't do the work or okay, no, let me say it this way. Oftentimes that level of anger and trying to disprove and irateness that men come up, that men engage in when they've been caught in allegations, it's not about accountability. It's about an anger that everything has just been caught up, right? Like all of the negligent behavior and your negligence too, like I was saying, that stuff that's in your closet. You've just been negligent and derelict in your duties to be a good human being. And look at Diddy. Diddy did all the most. this is not true. Oh my God, fight for my name, fight for my name, blah, blah, blah. Everything was true. He just was mad that he was losing everything. That's not and I did that whole walkthrough because I think men be just thinking like, man, that was tough. He was depressed. He lost it all. What? Well, yes, yes. Like, I don't know what they want us to do in these moments. He used to have some empathy. He lost it all. Well, I mean, should we be mad that he lost it all things considered? Like, what's supposed to happen? That's your responsibility. And it's not that I can't have human empathy in saying that you make a mistake and then you lose it all. Like, that's tough. That is hard. I can literally just objectively feel the weight of that. But in terms of having any empathy that would move beyond me feeling like that was necessary, I can't get that far with you because I don't know what do you want us to do? And so we're supposed to be sad that all his stuff caught up with him. I can't
Right.
meet you there.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just also thinking about, before I forget, like, if there was 2 women that, brought forth allegations, brave enough to bring up, allegations against this man, I can guarantee you there's a trail of women. Because I know women personally who are holding tongue right now on people they know who have harmed them in the same exact way. And for you to feel like, "You know what? Forget it. Imma say it." That takes a lot, and I can guarantee you it's a trail of women,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it's a
You
pattern of behavior.
Yeah. And we repeating, so we can go to the next thing. But I will say, yeah. And if you didn't believe it after this, we 1000% know that it's the truth. Because if it was just the overwhelm, I can't take it, can't take it, then it would have just been a self-deletion.
Right,
But he
right,
made
right.
sure, in my
Like a yeah.
last will and testament, in my last action on this planet. Oh, that makes me oof. Mm, mm. In my last action on this planet, I want you to remember me for the stuff that y'all didn't know fully about because I was polished and pretty.
Mhm.
I was an abuser. Let
Right.
me be clear for the and just in case, yeah. He speaking for him, first person. If y'all don't remember nothing else about me, them women wasn't lying, allegedly. And I'm an
They
abuser. And I'm an abuser.
right.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Yeah.
I can't read my handwriting. Oh, so part of why this came up for me is that I, um, found myself not talking about this on social media. And when I talk about, the patriarchy, my blood pressure rises because I just get so
Yeah.
angry because
Yeah.
it's like, here's the point right here. Y'all missing it. Y'all missing it. Y'all missing it. It is the patriarchy. And I just be like, let me chill out. Let me chill out. Let me not say nothing because I do have to self-preserve. And, I went through a whole thing like a week or so ago about like this idea of, um, wishing I was ignorant because it's just too much. Like, it's too much. It's
Mhm.
if you're talking to you talk in it feels like you're talking to the void at this point, and I understand that we live in, obviously, times where we are not what our mothers were, we were not where our grandmothers were, etcetera. But I'm just like, did the foremothers, the bell hooks of it all, get
Mhm.
tired of talking about this? Because at what point is it just like, I can't say it no other way. It's just y'all not listening. And just thinking of like, um prominent people who have I've seen prominent black men who I've seen give their flowers other prominent black women for certain things of like your contributions to the academy, and then weeks later you're doing something that um dismantles the work of black women. You can't be listening. You're only hearing enough to be able to say, I read the book, I can write the essay, but I'm not going to internalize it and change my behavior. And it gets irritating after a while. So the question is, what does self-preservation look like
Yeah.
while also trying to fight the good fight? While also just being annoyed with the fact that
Mhm.
y'all niggas just ain't listening.
Well, what say you? What you respond first. What do you think? What?
Honestly, I've been able to have the conversation easily on this probably in conversation right now.
Yeah.
Because as much as I know that I'm not wrong or crazy, not using that word the way I should be using that word. Uh, I don't know how else to say it, honestly. But not to feel like I am, like, out of my mind. Being able to have conversation with people. It
Mhm.
again, this could be avoided. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
hope that
Absolutely.
our listeners who are men listen to this podcast and understand where we're coming from. We have said already on this podcast that the patriarchy is killing you, right?
Mhm.
And not in the sense of like I'm so overwhelmed that I have to unalive my wife and and myself, but like it's
Mhm.
killing you on a daily basis. And we genuinely care about your well being. As black men, again, I don't care what the folk do over there. As black men, I care about what's going on over here.
Mhm.
And I hope that somebody picks up the mantle, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes niggas I'm sorry, I can't keep saying that word. Men literally don't listen to women. So it has to be a point where a man or men or multiple stand up and say, "Hey bro, we got to really deal with this." And there
Mhm.
are some
Mhm.
that I'm in community with, but it's like I even kind of get mad at them subconsciously, like, take this on the road. You know what I'm saying? Like, talk to everybody because it can't be housed only in workshops that everybody can't access. It can't be housed in in academia. It can't be housed in the Ivy Tower. It has to be brought out to the masses. And sometimes are the masses are the people that are doing the most harm, um because the majority is the 99 and the 1%, all the things. So just what is helping right now is this conversation.
Yeah.
Um and figuring out where I need to add my edge to the conversation. But
I love it. Yeah. I agree.
yeah.
I think no, I agree with all that. That's why I wanted to hear you kind of like round it out. And I think I would add more recently I've been reminding myself daily in my practice I am a harm reducer, not a planet saver, right?
Mhm.
But I think that's applicable to everybody. If you're on this planet, again, with my faith ethic in Christianity, we essentially believe, if you believe in the creation narrative, sorry, I just got to give all the context, but right, there was a like a fall in the like the line of humanity. And so anyway, in that fall, it created a sin was cultivated, which just perverts everything on this planet and perverts our experience on this planet. And so as a result of that, it's not my duty to then feel all this pressure to save the planet because I know that everything on this planet that's emanated from this planet is just like a result of the fall. It's like sin. It's rooted in sin. But what it is my job to do as a human, as a Christian, as a person who's committed to life and love and cultivating all those things here is to reduce harm in as much as I can.
Mhm.
And so, and even when I pass, right, and there's somebody beyond me or somebody who comes in my place, did I set up an infrastructure to help pass that word and that message along for somebody else to have the sustaining power and energy and strength to do the same work? And that can sound real like high level theory, philosophical, but it really, if you really think about life like that, then we stop looking for these like euphoric endings. It's not going to be no euphoric ending. There isn't. Men going to always probably be like this. Woo, it's horrible to say. Again, I'm working in this. If I would have put a navigation that has something to do with me, this probably would have been it because that's what I've been thinking about over the last few weeks. This ain't stopping. Oh, I went to public theology conference a couple weeks ago at Yale. It was so this is really some of the thoughts that I came to because they was just like, he was like, justice work is a marathon. It ain't a race. It ain't no ending to this. He was like, and one of the worst things we can do is commemorate. He was talking, Reverend Barber was talking about Martin Luther King, but I think this is still applicable. He was like, I don't do no celebrations for Martin Luther King Day, not because I don't obviously honor his legacy, his work and all of that, but because the best way to honor his work is just to keep raising up leaders and continue in the work. It was like, celebrate what? Like celebrate his life and stuff. But in terms of like, oh, woo, woo, there is no victory. There's no victory. It's only continuity. And I think that's kind of like the rent that we pay to be here, meaning on this planet. And so anyway, and then in that marathon, in that running, do you get small victories or do you get things that bring personal fulfillment and satisfaction? Absolutely. But in terms of looking for the euphoria and then always kind of going through the cycle because it'll never happen. So you like, and it just keep harming yourself. Nah. So rather than that, to keep myself in it while also not overly exhausting myself, I'm leveling my expectations with the fact that I'm a harm reducer and not a planet saver. Because this ain't my planet. So I have a responsibility to steward this planet, but the same mind, it don't belong to me, quite literally. So I'll lead up to the heavenlies. Okay, what? But yeah. Hmm.
I guess as much as I am like after patriarchy, blah blah blah. I'm actually
Yeah.
I'm probably a little more hopeful than what you just came off. Like I
Wow.
do believe it can.
Mhm.
I hope that we can live in a space, and that might be why I have too much. Like it might be why I get stressed out so much about it because I do hope and pray that one day people literally with black girls and that the patriarchy can end and that it's not a reversal of power dynamics and that it is truly a dismantling of all of these isms and archies and all the stuff. Like
Yeah.
archy
Yeah.
in itself is
Yeah. I just caught
like
it.
your
I know what you
archies.
mean. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I just caught it.
Oh, it just clicked in my head when I said archy. Like I'm just like when we can get rid of all that. Like I truly believe that we could have like a life that we can like live amongst ourselves. And you know what? It might be too optimistic, and that's probably why I need to do a little more. So a little self preservation might be living in reality
Mm-mm.
that
Mm-mm.
you might see it. Like, but I also have checked myself enough recently, literally recently, that like because there was a conversation about like why would people want to bring children into this world, and it's like and this world is still better than it was 50 years ago, still better than it was 100,000 years ago,
Absolutely.
and we are constantly trending towards better, even though it feels like we're going backwards, um, most days. But um, I do have hope, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
I feel it
I
up.
that actually no. You make me want to clarify because I agree with you. Actually, I don't think that I am hopeless. Let's be very clear. I don't think that I'm hopeless, and I love that you just gave that because that really was helpful to me and it was beautiful. I'm definitely not hopeless. And I don't even want to say like I'm a realist either because I think that's cliche. I just think actually no. My hope beyond is built in Jesus and all that, but my hope is sustained because I see the beauty in all this complexity. And what I mean by that is, did Martin Luther King get to see the manifestation of his work? No. And also how that level of work and effort and resilience can manifest into something where the world looks completely different in some ways than when he was, putting the work in. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful. And so I'm grateful to be a part of a marathon. And I think my hope is in the fact that like we have capacity and competency to be a part of something that is like contributes to everlasting change, you know what I mean, or contributes to long form change. I think that's beautiful. And so it's not that it is a little bit more hope that's rooted in a little bit of like it's not hope rooted in like this will change and that'll change more than it is a hope in the whole like the whole um I don't know. I don't know. I guess the more of the philosophy, whatever. I'm getting too deep in the weeds, but my point is like I agree with you. I think it is possible to change. I just I think then something else will just come from it and then it'll be another problem and ultimately
Right, right,
like yeah. So yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That's why I said it sounded more hopeful than you sounded because I know that you are
Right.
hopeful.
Yeah. No, but no, I'm glad you said that though, because I'm like, oh yeah, let me think about it.
What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you watching?
If you can't tell by now, we love media, but more specifically, we love using media as a means to cultivate conversations around Black women, the things surrounding us, our personal lives, and we live for a good Kiki child. Oh, this it's for school, but it was a fun read. I'm halfway through, but I'm gonna finish it because it's good and it's really short. Reading Jarena Lee's autobiography, which was as we know it. We don't know definitively. History says though that she was the first Black female preacher. Like she went to Richard Allen, the founder of AME Church herself, and was like, "I want to preach," and he was like, anyway, it's a whole other conversation. But um, positive. No, but yeah. So I'm reading her autobiography. It's really great, and actually during this time, it's actually really good to read this. And interestingly, this is just an aside, but I think you'd find it interesting. Like so much of our like Pentecostal, and I heard the Lord say, like
Mhm.
um, reading her book and listening to her words about how she heard from God and what drove her and all of that. It's like this sounds just like a church mother in my like it's like I'm like, oh wait, we really been doing this. This is a tradition, and it's like, duh, of course. But every single time you deep dive into history a little bit, you be like, ain't nothing new. We be thinking we reinventing stuff. She was like, I went into my prayer closet and I was like, oh, this old language for real? Like we really been, yeah, yeah. You got to. It's really good. So she was like, I went away and I supped with the Heavenly Father and I told him, or even somebody had got sick and she was like, we tarried and prayed down and I was like, dang, this was in the 1800s. So I don't know. We just really are. Ain't nothing new under the sun. So yeah, that's what I'm reading right now.
That's really beautiful because I mean, I know
Mm-hmm.
you said that's beautiful, but, like, to see, because I've been really thinking about, like, tradition. Obviously, I've been talking about this, like, and how
Mm-hmm.
and I think
Mm-hmm.
I have witnessed, and I think tradition is carried matriarchally, and just to see how the women have been carrying the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
is and I'm not saying the men can't carry. I'm not
I
saying that,
get you. I get
but
you.
that and to see that she was the first said to be the first Black woman preacher, like,
Mm-hmm.
and like, thinking about food and thinking about how we carry
Yep.
stuff,
Yep.
like,
Yep.
that's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how about you? Reading, watching, doing?
I've been listening to one of my favorite podcasts again on NPR called It's Been a Minute. They just, like, do, like, little 30-minute conversations about random stuff that's happening in pop culture.
I love it.
They're like, the conversation that prompted me had like, bringing up some of this stuff was, like, um the correlation between Botox tapping out of conversations politically and how it's basically uncool, quote unquote, to like look like you care. So when you
Oh
get Botox,
yeah.
your face can stay still. You don't show emotion. So like it's kind of embarrassing because our world is like spiraling into 11 different directions. Like
Yeah.
if you care too much, like you can be looked at as like basically the lame girl who cares too much. So basically that's why like the correlation between Botox and that. But anyway, so I've been listening to that
Yeah.
more often.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the correlations that they always bring between stuff. Yeah, that's about it.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Well, want to do a why does this matter?
Ciao.
I know.
Sure.
Do we even need to? Do we even need to? Honestly, do we even need to? Shoot.
Do we even need to? Do
Yeah.
we even need
Free
to?
the girls. Free us. Free
Yeah.
us. Free us. Mm-hmm.
Why does this matter? It matters because quite literally I'm tired of seeing Black women harmed and killed.
Yep.
Period.
I agree.
And it is all it tends to always be because of literally their race and gender or because of some form of power being wielded over them. Which I guess that's what all killing is, power being wielded over somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm tired of seeing it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep talking about it.
Yeah. It matters. It matters to me. Obviously, echo, and then really quickly, I'll say I had a girl recently who said to me she had got caught up in some danger, whatnot, whatever, but it was at no fault of her own. Essentially, she was in the car with somebody who was like wrapped up in street life and whatever. And anyway, when they were about to do harm to the person she was in the car with, she overheard the guy mention her dad's name. And she said that the guy was like, no, 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 you can't do that because that's so and so's daughter. And she didn't bring this up in any way about patriarchy and stuff, but while she was talking to me about it, I was like, that's crazy. Don't
Mhm.
harm her because she's his daughter, not because that's a human being. Who gives a
Right.
damn about her humanity, actually?
Connect
Actually, we
her
can
to a
kill both of
man.
these people.
Yeah.
And shoot, but she's connected to this man. You don't want to do that because he would bring harm to. And also, we respect him too much in the streets.
Right. Right.
It matters because of that. Until we stop, she literally in that moment was saved because she's somebody's property. She's a
Yeah.
man's property. Let's be clear.
Right.
Because she's a man's property, she was saved. Like she's a donkey or something.
Right.
That's why this matters. So, dismantle patriarchy. Bye.
Seriously. Have a good week, y'all.
Bye.